Hey now.
Hello.
Hello. We're live. We're live on YouTube right now, and you're live with us at the New and Experienced Investor Podcast. I'm Alex Barnett, one of your hosts, the new guy.
My name is Joe Holmes, and I'm the experienced guy, investing for over 40 years.
Good for you. And today we're going to be talking about, your experience as an investor and being running a brokerage, an investor-friendly brokerage.
An investor-friendly brokerage.
And we're going to do a day in the life because I don't think people realize, you told me something interesting the other day. You only need 2 years experience to become a broker.
Yeah, the laws keep constantly changing in California, but basically you need 2 years as a salesperson experience. There's exemptions to that. If you're an attorney, you can get your broker's license right away. If you have college education, it just really depends. Check on the DRE website for that information. But for most people, for most parts, yes, you're licensed under a broker for 2 years, then you can get your broker's license.
Okay, so would you say that the bar is low?
Can you imagine? Yes. The bar is very low.
Okay.
It's almost, very similar to just getting your salesperson license. It's,
right.
The bar is really low. It's not brain surgery.
Yeah.
If you, learn how to memorize the questions that they're asking and the answers, and you can pass that test, with flying colors. And it's funny about passing the real estate exam. So you need, I believe it's 70% right now. It used to be 75, but I believe it's 70% right now. And if you go take it, they will tell you you've either passed or failed. If you failed, then they'll tell you what your percentage is, like you've missed it by 2 questions or whatever. They won't tell you the questions, but they will tell you that you missed it. And so I always tell people when anybody ever asks you what you got on the real estate exam, just tell them 100%, There's no way to prove it.
Right.
You passed. There's no way to prove it. So I got 100% on it,
Exactly.
I'm a genius. I know what I'm doing. So I got 100%.
No, that's great. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, if the bar's relatively low, you could be working under a broker that has very little experience, or you can go to someone like yourself that has 40 years of experience. And maybe you could give us a rundown of, the benefits of that, of having a broker that actually has experience, because what does the broker do? What does the broker facilitate as an agency?
Great question. So the brokerage that I am associated with is called Pellego, PELLEGO.com. And it is an investor-friendly brokerage. And you can get your real estate license, and then 2 years later you can get your broker's license. That's not a problem. It just basically tells the public, your fellow agents, if you have a broker's license, that you've taken that test. So maybe you're a little bit more educated than them. But experience comes with actually doing things, being in the trenches, doing deals, dealing with the problems that come up with every real estate transaction, no matter what it is. There's always issues. And as a real estate agent, that's what you do all day, is you deal with these issues that come up. And they're really no different in a brokerage. I currently have about 250 agents that I have underneath me, and then I supervise. And it is just a matter of responding to whatever questions that they have. I have training videos and training websites on how to write offers and how to negotiate this and all that stuff that they can take to educate themselves. But until they actually get into the game and actually have a listing or actually have a buyer that they're working with, their knowledge about real estate is very limited. And so sometimes a newer kids on the block, so to speak, are the ones that are calling me most of the time, or emailing me, or we're jump on Zoom, whatever it is to get them past that hurdle that they need to be basically clear on. And the other big thing about being a real estate agent is all the disclosure and all the paperwork, and that has to be correct. And a lot of agents, when they're just starting out, hire transaction coordinators because the transaction coordinator shuffles the paperwork back and forth between the buyer and seller, and they make sure that all the paperwork is done correctly. That gets uploaded into a broker system, transaction coordinating system. So if anything arises along the way or even later on, all the paperwork's there. So it's very easy for me to go look at the paperwork and see, what happened during the transaction, if anything. So putting all those systems in place is what you need to do as a brokerage. And if you're decided, let's say you got your license 2 years ago and you want to be a broker and you want to open up your own shop, more power to you. But, you have to really be careful when you do something like that, because you need to have that experience behind you, especially when you start to hire other agents underneath you and supervise them.
Yeah, I could see how that could maybe present a problem if, you're working in an office, something random comes up and you're like, hey, what do I do here? And the guy's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So let me call Joe.
Yeah. And it used to be, the big box brick and mortar offices where agents used to go to. That really doesn't happen much anymore. We have a small office here. I've got 250 agents, and if I see one or two agents during the week here at my office is really kind of surprising. Most people work from home, and they're on their phones, they're on the computer, or wherever they're at Starbucks, or I was having lunch with one of my agents today, and he's on the computer asking me questions while we're at lunch. By the way, I like to work during lunch, so if you're interested, let me know, reach out. So the real estate game is kind of changed along the way. So, 250 agents sounds like a lot. And yes, I'm on the phone a lot, but it's not overwhelming or anything like. It's not like somebody can't get a hold of me. Right. They can always get a hold of me.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the special things about working at Pelago and having you as their broker, because you guys sort of present it as low commissions, number one, which is great, and then also you get the help that you need, because I've heard stories of where agents, they're reaching out to their broker and they're not even getting a response. And when you're working on a transaction, you kind of you're expecting the broker to answer some of these questions just because you don't know. So have you heard a lot about that, where other agents working at other brokers maybe?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I hire agents, and that's the reason that they leave other brokerages, is just they're not getting the hand-holding that they expected. And that's really kind of my number one priority, is when somebody calls, I answer the phone right away. If not, then if I'm busy, like I'm busy now, I'm not answering my phone. I'm looking at my phone. I'm not getting any calls, but leave a message and I'll get back to you. I'm very old school, so if you leave a message and tell me why you're calling, so it kind of prepares me, that'll be a lot easier when I call you back. Hopefully have an answer by then. I know that there's a lot of younger folks out there that like to use text and other methods, and they don't like leaving messages. I like people to leave messages, so if you're calling, please leave a message. Let me know why you're calling. So yes, that's very important to me. I hear that all the time. Our fees, because you were talking about it, $85 a month. You keep 100% of your commission, and we charge a transaction fee of $850, and that includes your E&O insurance. Okay, so E&O is errors and omissions, in case we're all human, in case you make a mistake, either an error mistake or you forgot to add something or you omitted something. The insurance company will, pick up those. And believe it or not, overall, I can't remember really the last time that I've even put in an E&O claim. It must have been 20 years ago.
Wow.
Because the technology is so different. And like I said, we've got transaction coordinators, and you have me available here to answer your questions and move you forward in a transaction. So that doesn't happen as often as people might think. But again, we're all human. We all make mistakes. So there could be some honest mistakes out there that are made.
Yeah, and especially in the very beginning. I mean, it's pretty overwhelming. I know, just learning to invest and all that stuff. I was blowing up your phone because you gave me permission to ask questions.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of it. And I see you on the phone sometimes, literally walking people through line by line through an offer sheet, or just filling paperwork out, or something that may seem very trivial to you is to some people.
Yeah, but to them is the most important thing of the day, because without getting that help or the answer to their question, they're kind of stuck. They're frozen. Mm-hmm. There's nothing they can do. I mean, I had an agent last night texting me 8:30 at night. My client needs to know this, my client needs to know that, and I'm answering all her questions for her. And obviously she's relaying that to her client, but it was 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very generous of you, I would say. Break us down or break it down like a day in the life of, being a broker. You mentioned some things, but maybe you could start with, like Monday. Is that like a very busy day for you? Do you have regular meetings with your agents, or how does that?
Mondays are actually a very busy day. I have a Zoom meeting with all my agents on Mondays at 10 o'clock. And so whoever wants to show up, it's not mandatory. I get that question a lot too from agents that I hire. Do I have to go to the office? Do I have to be at meetings? No, everything we do is voluntary, but I do tell them, the more you participate, at the end of the day, the more knowledge you're going to gain, and the more helpful it's going to be for you. But it's your business. And I tell them, treat it as your business. So if you want to put zero time in, guess how much income you're going to get? Zero. If you want to put a lot of time in, then, that income level is going to go up. So Mondays are busy that I do that. And also Monday is kind of my recruiting day. And I am constantly recruiting for agents. And so I'm on the phone Monday mornings pretty much till noon, talking to agents that are thinking about changing their license over to Pelago because they see our commission structure. We advertise on Google. We always use our website to advertise, pelago.com, and you can find out all the information on Pelago as well. We also, believe it or not, and this was a kind of a surprise to me when I started this 3 years ago. The owner advertises on Craigslist, and we get a lot of calls from Craigslist. Wow. Lots of calls from agents. It's like, and I think they're on there because, again, our brokerage is investor focused. So the agents are looking for deals, and then when they do keyword searches, our company comes up, and they go, "Oh, well, that looks interesting. $850 per transaction. Are these guys crazy?" So we do get a lot of calls from that, and they set up appointments, and and then I reach back out to them. So yeah, pretty much nonstop recruiting, and those are the sources that I use all the time to recruit new agents. And again, pretty much the same questions as are you there? Are you available? Can I come into the office? Even though they're not close by, yeah, sure, you can come in anytime you want, but they're just asking to see the availability and stuff. The other thing that's kind of different and unique about me is I've been doing this for over 40 years. I started out buy and hold, then I got into fix and flips, and I still do fix and flips. When you came on board, we started doing wholesaling together. And we do teach all that stuff. And if you're an agent, I'm happy to teach you all that stuff as well. I have an agent coming to our meetup this coming Monday. And it's a local meetup here in Laguna Hills that I hold every month. And he's coming to learn about fix and flips, which is what my son-in-law is going to be talking about this Monday. So if you happen to be in the area, reach out to us. We'll let you know where it's at and the times. And It's live and in person. I've got about 90 people signed up right now that are coming. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so it seems like your day's primarily filled up with just sort of being available, teaching, and I guess whoever it makes themselves available will, I guess get most of that knowledge. Tell me a little bit about the hiring process. Do you ever turn people away, or what does that look like?
Never. I'm going to say never to this date have I turned anybody away. Whether you just got your license yesterday or you've had your license for many years, there are people that have gotten themselves into trouble, let's say, done some things wrong. And, nowadays, if you don't pay child support, you can lose your real estate license. Oh. If you've been arrested for DUI, you can lose your real estate license for a while. And all these records are public records. And when I look at an individual, and if that's something like that pops up, it's like, well, that really wasn't real estate related, but those happen to be our laws here, so that's what happens. And so I would never turn down somebody that had something like that happen. And I haven't yet. Are there people that have come in and maybe done something, incorrectly? I had an agent come in the other day and immediately got a call from the previous company he was with that he owes some money to them. And I said, okay. I said, I'll let him know. And he was aware of it. I'll let him know. And if there's any commissions that come in, that I'll let you know, and you guys can fight over that commission if you're owed something. So things like that, appear every once in a while. I had another call from another broker one time that one of my agents was possibly committing fraud. And I did my own, kind of due diligence and research on that and found out that he possibly was. Okay, so I called him and I terminated him that day. The one nice thing about real estate agents is you're all basically independent contractors. You're not hired on a W-2, you're hired on a 1099, and you're kind of like what I would call an at-will employee. And, if for some reason you're not working out, I can fire you, or vice versa. If you don't like where you're at, you can literally leave the next day. You don't even have to notify anybody. You can just say, adios, I'm out of here, and you're gone. So.
Wow. Okay. How about if this person gets caught for fraud, you terminate them? Are they allowed to go to another brokerage? And
yeah, they are.
Is there some database that shows these things?
You would think that there was, but there isn't.
Oh.
There's no database unless they get caught.
Right.
Committing fraud, and then it'll come up. It'll show that they have a license to sell real estate. And if it's real estate related, or even if it's not, you can't have a real estate license if you have a felony. So if that comes up, then the DRE is going to hold a hearing, and they're going to go through their due process, and they're going to, at the end of the day, suspend your license or revoke your license for a period of time, or even forever. It just depends on what the violation is.
Wow. Okay. And that's your responsibility to be up on. How do you keep track of 250 agents and all the ins and outs of what they're doing?
Yeah, believe it or not, that's my responsibility. So, whenever they're in a transaction, I have them, upload all the paperwork, whether it's a listing or a buyer. They upload all the paperwork so that at least I have some paperwork, that I know that they're doing something. Mm-hmm. Can people get away with it? Yeah, absolutely. We're human. We all know how to get away things when, we don't want somebody to find out about it. But, those people eventually get caught at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of eyes, I guess, on each transaction. So someone's going to call you out for something.
Yeah, somebody's going to call the party that they're working with, or the party on the other side of the transactions, kind of call and say, hey, Joe, do you know what your agent's doing? Well, no, tell me what they're doing.
Right.
Go into your side of the story, and then I'll call them and find out, hey, what's going on here? What's your side of the story to this? And then try to deal with that issue.
Okay. Is there any incentive to be like the highest grossing agent, or does a broker do anything for that? Or
we do an annual get together and do an award every year.
Yeah.
To recognize the top producer in the office.
Okay.
Every year. So yeah,
okay.
That's just a that-a-boy type thing. But
right.
Anytime somebody closes a transaction, I always call them and congratulate them. And I think the biggest congratulations is your commission check.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah.
I guess that is the incentive.
Yeah.
Money. So how does that work? After the commission's paid out, does it go to you or right? It goes to you first and then you take the fees out, or how does that work?
So it goes into my Vegas fund, and I use that to go to Vegas.
Nice. Okay.
All the monies are basically deposited at the broker's trust account. And then once that they're there and they've cleared, then we pay our agents their commission minus the $850. And then that goes directly to them. These days it's all electronic. You don't get any paper checks or anything like that. And at the end of the year, we provide them with a 1099 on how much they make. And no taxes are taken out of that. They're responsible for paying estimated taxes during the year, and then doing their own personal taxes at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, legally, any money that's earned during the commission is paid directly to the brokerage.
Gotcha. Okay. And I know you bring up the commission a lot, and a lot of people say, "Wow, that's a good deal." I guess. What are they comparing it to? Like, what are other brokerages sort of? What's the split?
If you're like super experienced, you could probably get a 90-10 split.
Okay.
So you take 90%. And then vice versa, if you're like not experienced at all, there's companies out there that'll do 50-50.
Wow.
And that's a lot of money at the end of the day. So it really kind of, for other companies, they kind of hire you on your experience level and they pay you accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you have a flat fee brokerage like we do, obviously we don't have the big fancy offices, and things like that. But if that's what you're looking for, then go to a big fancy office. But know that you could be paying, half of your commission to that office just for having a big fancy office.
Yeah. Might be better off just getting your fat commissions and then renting an office if you absolutely need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. And where do you see the brokerage sort of heading into the future, or what do you?
I think the brokerage model is going to be more like Pelago than the big brick and mortar offices. I can't imagine. I mean, I've never worked at a brick and mortar before. I've been very independent my entire life. So I've never worked there, so I can't really comment on, what that is like. But I can't imagine a lot of agents with the technology that we have today, and the ability to do everything from your phone, basically, that they need something like that anymore. And I think in the future, you're going to see more brokerages going to our business model. And our company started in Washington, the state of Washington. It expanded out here to California about 3 years ago, and to Florida as well about 3 years ago. And the owner is trying to expand to the other 50 states. It's just literally just a process. He picked the two biggest markets, California and Florida. I know he's got a few agents that he's looking to hire in Texas, so that's probably going to be the next state that he moves into. But this is kind of what we're looking to do in the future, and I think a lot of other brokerages will head that direction as well.
Yeah, I like that. What about Pelago is sort of famous for being an investor friendly brokerage? What does that mean as far as the agents? Like they
So,
have
75% of our agents are investors themselves. So, they do fix and flips, they buy and hold, they do rentals, they do wholesaling. A lot of these things, the brick and mortars won't even let you do at all, especially wholesaling. We let you do all that stuff. And we're investor friendly, we're investor focused. That's kind of what our niche is, but we also hire brand new agents. I teach brand new agents how to wholesale, how to flip properties. And I think it's very important that every agent out there, because I call people all the time and, do you offer leads? Well, not at $85 a month and $850 per transaction. It's like, if you want me to offer your leads, then I would, need to take probably 20% of your commission so that I can pay for that. But no, we don't offer leads, but I can teach you how to get leads. Okay, that's what wholesaling is all about.
Yeah.
And because you have a real estate license, your goal is to, put this property under contract and wholesale it to somebody else or flip it yourself. Or if you can't put it under contract at a wholesale price, then you put your real estate agent ad on and say, hey, I'm a licensed real estate agent. How about we just list your home? Well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is on a wholesale deal, I pay for all your commissions and closing costs. The number I just offered you, $200,000, that's what you put in your pocket. If we decide to list it, then you're going to need to pay a 6% commission and closing costs. At the end of the day, it's probably another 10% on a deal. So, add another 10% on whatever that deal is. Can you still make more if you do that? Well, then, yes, if you can make more, if you answer yes to that, then then let's put it on the MLS. Let's let all these people that aren't experienced like we are go crazy and bid up the price on this house, even though it needs a lot of work. They're going to bid the price up on this house, and we're going to earn you more money, and you're still going to earn a commission on that deal.
Yeah. And I think that's a great mindset to have when you're an agent, because you do meet a lot of agents that never even think about, buying and holding or flipping or anything like that. They're just obsessed with the commission, which is just one, aspect, I guess, to, being in real estate. And that's pretty nice. So I guess it's the difference between give a man a fish.
I work with real estate agents, and in the real estate industry, when you have a listing, your goal is to always represent the buyer. It doesn't happen all the time, but you can. And if you do, it's called double ending. So you're getting a commission from not only the seller, but the buyer as well. Seller pays both commissions, but you're representing the buyer. So that's 6% that you're charging the seller. You would normally give 3% to another buyer and buyer's agent that comes in, but since it's your buyer, you're going to do both, and that's their goal. And I don't have a problem if there's a deal that's presented to me by a real estate agent and there's enough room in that deal where I can pay them their commission and make a profit at the end of the day. We actually just closed on one a couple of weeks ago. The agent double-ended it, but at the end of the day, we're going to make probably $90,000 to $95,000 on that deal. Why would I turn that down? Because yes, I'm a real estate agent, and yes, I could have wrote the offer, but would have it been accepted? Okay, because the listing agents, their goal again is to double end that transaction. So we convinced the listing agent, well, you know what, just go ahead and represent us if we can get this deal and close it up right now, and they did.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Wow. So being a broker, okay, there's a lot more that goes into it than just having your license for 2 years and and then teaching the next newbie whatever you learned in those 2 years. So I would definitely have all of you guys reach out to Joe if you are an agent or thinking about getting your license and find out more about Pelago. We also did an episode, our last episode, where we kind of showcased the site,
the website,
the website, and all the things that it can do if you're an investor as well. So I definitely check that one out. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to share this with any new and experienced investor in your life. Subscribe to the channel. And anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, right on. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week. Thank you. some more advice on real estate investing, reach out to us one-on-one.